So, should you pull on Hu Tao? While it's a very simple yes or no question, finding out which isn't very straightforward. We're going to talk about the whys and why nots, and I'll mostly talk about my experience from using Hu Tao on this $0 account, but I'll only be talking about Hu Tao's talents and constellations as reference and will not go too deep into explaining them in this video. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to make a video on it. Do note that if you're pulling on Hu Tao because you like her and you don't care about her battle potential, you do you. This video should not convince you otherwise. But if you're looking to get help in making up your mind whether she's worth your hard-earned resources, here's what you can expect to get from Hu Tao. She arguably has the highest single target DPS in the game. She doesn't have very good AoE except for her burst, but it still does a lot of damage. Her burst uptime isn't going to be very good depending on which artifact set you're running her with, whether it be 4-piece Crimson or 4-piece Shimenawa. Those are two of her best in slot artifact sets. Her lack of AoE doesn't make her unusable against many enemies because of her really high single target DPS. Because you can kill each enemy so quickly because she has really high single target DPS, that means you can move from one enemy to another much faster. She does need Xingqiu to reach her max potential, and depending on your situation, if Xingqiu is being used in your other teams, Hu Tao may not be a very good pick for you if you want to bring out her maximum potential. For example, if your other team in Abyss is a Xiangling team, then you're gonna need Xingqiu on that team to enable Xiangling to do Vaporize. But if you do run a Xiangling team, but you also have Child, then you won't need Xingqiu on the Xiangling team, which means you will have Xingqiu for your Hu Tao team. And in that case, getting Hu Tao is going to be pretty good for you, since you'll be able to bring out her maximum potential. You can run Hu Tao on a mono pyro team, especially if you have Kazuha, which I have done in the past. It is somewhat of a DPS loss for her, but in my experience, and at least based on my build here, as you can see, it's not that much of a damage loss, but it may be different depending on how well invested and what stage in the game you're at with your Hu Tao. She does need a strong shielder to take advantage of her passive skill, which gives 33% pyro damage bonus. The best pick for the shielder is Zhongli, and depending on if you have Zhongli or not, or if you're already using him on another team, that may be good or bad for you. Diona is an okay shielder for her. In my experience, I have used Diona with her before, and Diona's shield in my case wasn't strong enough for what I needed, but it was almost strong enough. And Diona's healing is pretty good, but it wasn't good enough for what I needed too. But this is going to vary a lot depending on the player's skill level and the way that you play. You can get better healing with Diona if you have a healing circlet, but that would mean you would have to sacrifice shield strength. But it really depends on what you need. Thoma, who is on her upcoming rerun banner, is potentially a good pick for shielder. He's already a playable character in the Hangouts, although I haven't personally done it yet, but I have seen footage of it, and he looks like he's going to be a very good alternative to Zhongli for the role of shielder. Another reason why Thoma could be good with Hu Tao is that he could potentially apply pyro to enemies before infusing Hu Tao with their skill. And why do you want to do this? Why would you want to apply pyro to enemies before infusing Hu Tao with their skill? So that you could use an Animo unit on them and reduce their pyro resistance with a 4-piece Viridescent set. Thoma's kit has just been released on the official MiHoYo website, and if you see this is his skill and this is his burst. They both apply pyro, which means you'll be able to apply pyro and reduce their pyro resistances with the 4-piece Viridescent set before infusing your Hu Tao with their skill. If you don't have a good shield character for her, like let's say you only have Diona as a shield character and you can't get Thoma for some reason when her rerun comes, or you don't have Zhongli, then in that case, giving her a good healer such as Bennett is okay, which I have been doing for a long time now. Like on this account, for example, I don't have a good shield character other than Diona. I don't have Zhongli. I have Xinyan, but her shield is like really horrible. And like I said earlier, even Diona's shield isn't as good as I want it to be. And I need Diona for my Ganyu team. It doesn't seem to be much of a difference, at least with the current build that I have and the way that I play her. There are a few downsides to it. One of them is that you cannot utilize her passive, which gives her 33% pyro damage bonus. But you will be able to get Bennett's buff, and having Bennett with her guarantees that you can get pyro resonance. And Bennett is also a very good user of the 4-piece Noblesse Oblige, which gives you another attack bonus on top of that. Another downside to not having a good shield character and just using her with Bennett is that attack bonuses don't benefit her as much as they do other characters because of the way her skill works. Another good thing about her is that she has a weapon that brings out insane potential, which is Staff of Homa, but is not necessary to take her to a point where she can clear most content in the game. Good choices without Staff of Homa include Dragon's Bane. At high refinements, Dragon's Bane is comparable to 5-star weapons, only falling a little behind from Staff of Homa. Other 4-star choices are Deathmatch and Blackcliff. I personally use Blackcliff and have had no problem clearing content in the game. Another good thing about her is that she has 2 best-in-slot artifact sets, namely the 4-piece Shimenawa set and the 4-piece Crimson set. The 4-piece Crimson set is not a very good value for resin because the other set in that domain, Lava Walker, is only good on a select few characters in the game, but since Pyro has been a very good element in the game for a long time now, maybe you already have good Crimson pieces. While 4-piece Shimenawa, on the other hand, is definitely a newer artifact set in the game and most people don't have good pieces of it, it is definitely good value to be farming the domain it's in, because the other artifact set that's in it is Emblem of Severed Fate, which is really good on a lot of characters. And even the 2-piece Shimenawa set is also very good on a lot of other characters. She also benefits more from HP sands, so that HP sands you used to call trash is now what you want to use on her. You will need to learn to play her a certain way to play optimally and bring out more of her potential. Getting C1 is good, but it's not completely necessary. There is a way to play around not having C1, but some of the good things about having C1 is that it removes your charged attack stamina consumption, which opens up the possibility of using dash canceling instead of jump canceling. Not having C1 means you have to jump cancel to conserve stamina to use when you have to dodge enemy attacks or run after enemies staying away from you or going from one enemy to another when you're fighting multiple enemies. It also means if you use jump canceling with C1, you'll have a lot of stamina to use for other things, like dodging and chasing after enemies, or even positioning well. Having C1 also means you can now dash cancel and still have some stamina left to use for dodging, chasing enemies, and positioning well. Earlier I said C1 is not completely necessary to play her. Jump canceling is only a little worse in terms of DPS output, but depending on your situation, the difference between dash canceling and jump canceling may be the difference between an 8 or 9-star Abyss finish. Another good or bad thing about her, in most cases, depending on the way you play her in your situation, is that she has downtime, which in most cases is not bad, since you can just rotate through your other character's skills and bursts. But in some cases, when you have to chase down enemies, some of that uptime is lost to running after them, and when your skill's finished, you already lost some time just by chasing after them. And if you have decided on pulling for Hu Tao, MiHoYo hasn't announced what weapon banner she's gonna have, so that makes people think that she's probably gonna get Staff of Homa on her rerun banner too. So if you think you have enough to get Hu Tao and even try to go for her weapon too, MiHoYo has just announced some new 4-star weapons coming to her weapon banner, such as this polearm and this bow. They're both pretty good. Now in the polearm's case, it isn't good on her, but it's still pretty good for a lot of polearm users that rely a lot on their bursts, like Xiangling or maybe even Rosaria, but isn't very valuable since we already have the catch, which is already a very good polearm for bursts, but could still find value if you need another polearm for someone who relies on their burst. Like if you have the catch on someone like Raiden Shogun, but need another good burst polearm for Xiangling maybe. So, final verdict, it really is up to you based on how many primos you have to spend and are willing to spend on her and how much work, time, and resin you're willing to put into building her up. Please do remember to be responsible with your finances if you will be spending real world currency. She is one of the strongest characters in the game in terms of DPS potential, but you have to decide for yourself whether you're willing to learn to work around her caveats to get her benefits. So anyway, I hope this video helped you guys make up your mind whether you're pulling for her or not. Let me know in the comments if you think I missed anything, or if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and thanks so much for watching guys. Take care.